This show is brought to you in part by viewers like you who joined a Patreon or become YouTube members. Thank you. And if you could, hit the like button and subscribe if you want more Browns-focused content.
There's a lot of great things that happen in this Browns win, and we're going to talk about those things all week. But I think one of the more interesting things to talk about in this Browns win is the play of Joe Flacco, because it wasn't good, and it wasn't not good for the reasons that, we can tend to excuse for Joe Flacco. Whereas last week when I watched the tape, I saw really just a Baltimore Ravens defense that did everything they could to take away what Joe Flacco could do. This was a defense that was getting pressure consistently with just 4 guys on the line of scrimmage, able to keep back 7 in coverage. And not only were those 7 guys in coverage, those 7 guys were really well connected in coverage, communicating, reacting, using their eyes. This week is a little different because I don't think that was the case with Green Bay's defense. Yes, it's a good defense, sure, but were they playing as good as Baltimore was last week? Not even remotely close to that. So there were a lot of missed opportunities for Joe Flacco in this game. Sometimes the protection is a problem for Joe Flacco, and that definitely cost the Browns some opportunities here. But it's really a question of, why isn't Joe Flacco seeing things that I think he should be seeing? That's the bigger thing I take away from this. And the disappointing part of that for Joe Flacco is that's exactly what he's in there not to be, right? If the Browns wanted a quarterback who wasn't going to be able to see the field or struggle to see the field, they could be playing a rookie. But Joe Flacco's out there because he's supposed to be able to execute the offense. And what I'm seeing right now is just subpar execution of the offense. I'm not even seeing an offense where it appears that the game plan was to be in a conservative mode. That was one of my fears during the game, was like, hey, did Kevin Stefanski hit low power mode on this offense and everything's short and we're just running stick and stuff, like, just short yardage plays, short yardage concepts? That just wasn't the case in this game. The Browns ran fairly a large amount of downfield concepts that should have hit for big plays if the quarterback has his eyes where his eyes should be. But for whatever reason, Joe gets fixated on one thing or the other, and it becomes a constant problem in this game. So, yes, we've seen 3 weeks of football. 1 week where I thought he played okay. 1 week where I thought he didn't play well, but also I thought Baltimore gave you an exceptional performance. And this week, I thought was his worst one yet, because the tape does not say good things about him like it did in week 1. And unlike week 2, you're not watching this tape being enthralled with just the defensive effort and performance of the opposing team like you were in week 2 with Baltimore. This week, it's not really a special defensive performance from the secondary of the Green Bay Packers. It wasn't even that really thrilling of a performance from their defensive line, especially in the second half of this game when Micah Parsons wasn't really out there that much. So this one, I think, is the most head-scratching game that he's played. It's fortunate they won this game because, boy, if he would have lost and had to cement some of these mistakes in a loss, I think the confidence is shot, and I think the chances that you can repair this with Joe Flacco are very little. But when you win games, for whatever reason, even if you don't play well, it can rejuvenate a little bit of confidence. And if they get some confidence back into Joe Flacco, I do think this offense can get on and rocking, because I think they should have been much more productive than they were last week. This isn't a question of wide receivers aren't separating. There's going to be plenty of wide receiver separation on this film breakdown. This isn't a case of, the coach isn't calling anything with anybody open. There's plenty of open receivers on this. It's just we're not pulling the trigger when the trigger's supposed to be pulled, sometimes because of pressure, sometimes because I'm questioning, why is Joe Flacco's eyes where Joe Flacco's eyes are at. And keep in mind, that might not just be a Joe Flacco thing. That could be a Kevin Stefanski thing. That could be a Tommy Rees thing. That could be a Bill Musgrave thing. Or it could be an all of the above thing. But really, some questions need to be asked because some answers were on the field for sure this week that just weren't being taken. And I can't tell you why those answers weren't taken. I can just show you what happened and show you the answers that were there on the field that can be taken. So we're going to look at the All-22 film breakdown. But before we get into that, I want to thank my sponsor, Sleeper. Hey, real quick, I want to tell you about a little bit of a sleeper of an app called Sleeper. Has fantasy, has news feed, has picks. You can do it all on the Sleeper app. Make sure you use it. Sign up using the promo code Worst Take and get to 100% match on up to $100 when you use promo code Worst Take. Again, 100% match for up to $100 when you use promo code Worst Take. You have a great day. Now, let's continue the video. Gotta have a better blocking rep here from Harold Fainin. Fainin's real hit or miss with the blocking here. So up top, kind of gears down. And he's just in a horrible position to block here once the guy catches on to screen. So Harold's got to get into blocking position about now, right? He mistimed it. I think he's trying to sell. Oh, man, I didn't get the ball. The ball's in the air. Try to get the linebacker to let up. Nah, it's a terrible rep. He should just be setting up right when that ball's out. He should have that timed up. They know what kind of cadence they're going for, right? So you practice this with screenplay. You got to have a cadence in there in your mind because you don't want any of the linemen to get on down the field, right? So you're throwing this with the cadence in mind, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So 3 and 4 is when that ball's going to be out, right? Let's count it again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So the ball's out there, right? Yeah, let's do it one more time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So and 4. Now let's look at Harold Fainin. Where is he at in this cell? Ball snap. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And 4, right here. And 4. Set up and block. The gig's over. He knows it's a screen. The jig is up. Get a block here and get the man out of bounds. Instead, you don't get him out of bounds. You let him shoot by you. This is not the big play it should have been. It was a first down. It should have been a huge chunk play to start this game. Again, just off sync, right? Some of this is like ballet, right? When you're trying to run this, you got to have things come out right when you want to. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and not blocking, right? He kind of lost count of the natural rhythm of the play, I'm guessing. Because he should absolutely be setting up the block now. Because he's a part of that play side. Yeah, just a bad play there. All right, let's get to the next one. So that play not as successful as it could have been because we just didn't get the proper auxiliary blocking from our tight end. I mean, that's a brilliant play too because you got your tight end lead blocking there. He's just got to remember he's down there to do that. Okay, so this is one of the ones I'm not going to really blame on Joe Flacco, right? My guess, he gets hit while throwing this. My guess is he's trying to get this ball to Jerry Jeudy, who's over here. He's running and out. He gets hit. This ball goes all over the place. But I think that's what he's waiting for right here. You get what you want, right? So get what you want. You get that void here. And if you get this ball out right now, you got a big completion of Jerry Jeudy. Now, here's my question with Joe. Were you kind of just fixated on this little curl here? I don't know why that would be the case. Where's Joe's eyes at? Seems like he wants this deep out too. Or was he just locked into David Njoku? No, so it looks like he peeks. So he play action, he peeks, scans across field. Yeah, I don't know why he's not backside here, right? So again, the pressure kind of ruins this anyway, so I don't know what happens here with the pressure. But the first question you got to ask Joe is, hey, why were your eyes not on the backside of this play? What didn't you like there? Because I think you get the leverage you want here. Now, to keep in mind, I don't know how much this linebacker right here, he's cheating up because I think he's reading Joe Flacco's eyes. Right? Like he's cheating up here, which really opens that void. But I think the reason that that's the answer on the play here is simple. Even before you get to that point of leverage where you're putting that guy in conflict, making him choose high-low, you got the void right here, right on the cut, because look at the corner's hips here, right? So they show this shell pre-snap. It's a quarter shell. I mean, not quarter shell. It's a 3 high shell, right? So cover 3 shell that they're showing. So you kind of had an ideal of what they're running here, and what they're running is cover 3. It's pretty much exclusively cover 3 here, vanilla. Yeah, they're not even like, yeah, so it's cover 3. I don't know why. Okay, late. That's what happened. So it looked like quarters. They were showing shell quarters. Right here. He takes a peek. He sends somebody in motion. He gets him back. He's got to see that guy creep down and identify that that's back into cover 3, right? Okay, so that's why his eyes are on Njoku. So he thought this was quarters. That's what happened. That's what I think happened. He thought this was quarters. So he sees the shell here. They're showing tons of zone indicators, so you know this is zone. But you see here, this shell's 4 high, quarter shell. And he's thinking, oh, okay, I'm going to get David Njoku underneath because there's going to be a void in that zone there. Which is why I think he picks the left side of the field. He doesn't see. Yeah, he doesn't see that safety walk up. And that's why that play didn't work. He just misread the defense, I think. I think they got him with this disguise. Because if it's the thing I was confused with, right, when you see it, the play start from here, is why are we not looking for that in or out, right? Like when you know you're going to leverage these corners really well in cover 3. I mean, that's a 3 beater right there. But he saw 4, and I'm guessing based on the route choice here, right? Because it looks like bench on the left side or some kind of like something close to bench here. So on this side, so you would say to yourself, okay, well, if this is 4, I take here. That's the answer. If this is 2, I'm taking this. That's the answer on cover 2, right? What you're reading Here's the shell. You're also trying to see the linebacker. But if it's 3 or 0, you probably want to take this side, right? So, yeah, I just think he got confused by the, they didn't even really hide this well, though. So I don't know. That's my guess. That's what makes sense to me. If you want me to try to make sense of this, that's what makes sense that happens in this play, is that he thinks that this is a coverage that it's not. Right? I can't imagine he would have his eyes that way if he thought it was cover 3. Because this corner route, I mean, it's real hard to win in cover 3. And that under is real hard to win in cover 3. But that dig is always going to be there. All right. Okay, let's look at what they're in, right? First thing you want to identify, what kind of shell are they running pre-snap? Again, they're showing 4 high right here. No man indicators. So when I say no man indicators, you know what a man indicator is, right? Close coverage, on the line. There's no man indicators here, but you're seeing these guys off. So it's off, off, and then too high. So you're saying to yourself, this looks like a quarter shell. They're at least shelling in cover 4. Now they love to walk up one of these safeties and turn it into cover 3. The second time they've done that. This time he reads it properly. He's just a little late. So at least they didn't get him with that twice. And it's okay to get fooled a little bit here, right? But you just gotta know, okay, they did the thing, right? So 56. Look at what Joe's looking at right here. He's looking at 56. 56 goes into this hard flat, which kind of tells you what defense they're in, right? So he sits hard flat. So he's like, okay, if he's sitting, then I know what this is. This is cover 3. Let me hit that void. I just think this ball could be better. It's a great catch by Isaiah Bond, but it didn't have to be that risky. Identify that a little bit quicker. I think he identified it quick enough, to be honest with you. I think he thought about giving that corner to David. Don't do that. But yeah, he identifies this fast enough, works back, and this just has to be a better ball. This is just an ugly ball. Right, it goes high on him. He kind of sidearms it. He felt that pressure behind him. I mean, it's good enough for the completion, but you just so you can replicate this stuff, you want to have a better ball there. All right, 3rd and 4. This one's tough. You get a free runner here. And I believe that free runner is Micah Parsons, so not fun. So, yeah, Micah Parsons. I mean, this is just a horrible job tagging by David Njoku. I mean, this is basically helping Micah Parsons. It's a horrible job tagging him. So, horrific tag from David Njoku leads to a free runner in space. This exchange, too, from the guard and the tackle has to be better. Like, this tag is terrible. This exchange is terrible. I mean, both guys got free. So, like, either you know that, hey, Joe's not letting this guy go, which Joe seems to be like, no, I'm sticking. You roll. And Joe, yeah. So Cornelius Lucas, whatever the hell he's doing here, is probably not good. But this right here at the top of the play, I mean, this is what kills it right here. Corn and David, whatever the fuck this is on Michael Parsons, is just not enough. If I'm being honest with you. It's a miracle he even gets that ball out here. And yeah, David's all mad because he didn't get the ball here. But I mean, if he does a better job there on his chip block, he probably does get the ball. Because yeah, David's upset because he voids into this zone. He's going to be open. This linebacker has to choose because the guy in conflict here is this linebacker, right? He has to choose running back or David Njoku. So let's rewind this back, see the conflict here. So whoever that hard flat defender was going to be, they were going to be in conflict. This guy's going to be the hard flat defender. He's in conflict right now, right? David Njoku, you can stay here, guard David Njoku, or you could go up and guard Jerome Ford, but you can't guard them both. So pick your poison, basically. I mean, this is a win from a schematic standpoint in the passing game. Unfortunately, the protection for this one just was not executed. And you can make the argument that the execution for this one was always going to be difficult. Protection-wise, at least, right? Because this is a tough one to deal with, right? Basically get a twist, double twist here. Now, on the left side of this play, is that KT Leviston doing a really good job? Looks like this KT Leviston doing a really good job of killing that. So if you want to know what it should have looked like, you want Cornelius Lucas to meet Michael with some level of power to slow this down, and you want David Njoku to do something there. Like, you're there to do more than that. I know David just wanted to get out there because he knew he was probably getting the ball here. But, yeah, that wasn't it. Now, my question for Joe Flacco, given that we saw that there was answers on this play, why is Joe's eyes here, right? And again, that's a question for everybody in that room. Maybe there's a good answer, maybe there's not. I don't know. But why are Joe's eyes... why are they here to start this play, right? To pick a side. Why did you pick this side, basically? What did you see here? You're in gun, so you're looking all the way through here. And they've been walking that linebacker. I mean, not that linebacker. They've been walking that corner back up, so you can't just take that, think it's going to be a 4 shell again. Maybe he just loves bench too much, because this looks like bench again. And maybe he's just too in love with the bench concept here. Can't say no to it. Got to figure out why his eyes weren't on the right side of the play. All right, 3rd and 2 here, second quarter, 13 minutes. This is a fine decision. You can also make the argument that he probably should have hit Jerry Jeudy here. Again, this is like a question constantly in this game, and that's the unfortunate part. But there's a constant question in this game of what exactly is Joe Flacco seeing, right? I'm not sure. Sometimes when you're watching him, you know exactly what you're seeing, and with quarterbacks, you kind of want to understand why they're seeing what they're seeing, why their eyes are where their eyes are, what are they trying to work. And in this one, there's a lot of questions I would love to be a fly on the wall in the quarterback room to understand, like, hey, why are we liking this more than that? Why are our eyes here? Why didn't we peek to see if your ex receiver, your number one guy, Jerry Jeudy, You know he's going to be coming across the field here. Why not peek at him to see if he got a clean release here, right? Like, we're throwing this thing to Cedric Tillman, who got it off pretty good, but I mean, you want to get that ball to one of them. I'm just like, hey, why not peek at Jerry Jeudy here? Right now, maybe that's not part of the play. Maybe Jerry's just there to clear guys out. I doubt it on this concept. This looks like levels. But yeah, it's just a big question of like, why aren't we looking at Jerry's way during this release here, right? Like, what's going on? He's wide open. Again, not a bad decision to get to Cedric Tillman. It's 3rd and 2, and maybe that's what Joe's thinking. It's 3rd and 2. Let me not fuck around, right? Which, if that's the decision, I can live with it. I'm fine with it. But man, that feels like it could have been a big play, right? Like, because by the time Joe gets to the top of his drop before he kind of like exposes where he's going to go with it, boy, he's got so much separation on 24 right there. I mean, a well-placed ball to Jerry Jeudy right here, that could be a house call. I get it's 3rd down. It's a close game. I just want to get the fucking ball out and just get it. I know he won his route. Let me just get it to him. But man, if you see it, you gotta have the confidence to try that, right? I mean, you can always go for it on 4th and 2. And I don't know, man. It feels like you get a better throw off earlier here than waiting on Cedric Tillman here. Again, maybe Jerry wasn't a part of the progression here on this down and distance because they just want a quick decision to be made. And if that's the decision on that, cool. But just you want to ask that question, like, hey, what's going on here? Why aren't we taking that? That's open. Again, I'm not trying to present myself as if I know the answers. Ultimately, the people with the answers are going to be Bill Musgrave, are going to be Joe Flacco, are going to be Kevin Stefanski, and are going to be Tommy Rees. But these are the kind of questions that pop up, when you're watching this from the outside looking in. And if there's not good answers internally, that's concerning. All right, this flea flicker play, I mean, this is the one everybody has mentioned. Isaiah Bond's wide open here. Now, my question with this flea flicker is like, hey, was this just a design screen, right? Was this supposed to just be a design screen and you're just kind of running these routes over top to suck the defense downfield, right? To basically what you're trying to do is, why did that go there? So like basically, were they just trying to, were they were never considering this post because it was only designed to move that linebacker? Or was this a, hey, read the linebacker here, right? Was the read, and this is what I have to imagine it was it, hey, let's read the linebacker. If he doesn't bite here, right, on the flick, if on the flick he doesn't bite, so like there has to be three answers, right? So one, if you hand this off, he triggers downhill and he attacks Quinshawn, right? Like if he just shoots this gap, what's the answer here, right? So if he shoots this gap, what's that answer here? I think the answer should be Isaiah Bond, right? Like if he shoots that gap, answer should be Quinshawn, get your head around, put a shoulder in somebody's chest, and let's get this ball to Isaiah Bond. Now, if the linebacker bites on this, So the linebacker bites on the flea flicker and he takes the post away. So he tries to carry depth with that post. Then you throw this screen to David Njoku. And if he just kind of sits, I imagine you got to take the post. Right? That's what I imagine the rules to be here. I don't know what they are because I'm not in that room, but I think there's enough there for Joe to know that that post is going to be open, right? Like that's the because sometimes people will screenshot you a quarterback play and like, oh, look at this guy, he's wide open, but there's really no indicator pre or post snap to tell you that that guy would be open. I don't think that's the case with this play because all the indication of where you need to go with this play is right here with the linebacker in the middle here. Like you're watching him. This whole play is designed to put him in conflict. I don't know how we take the screen here unless he just wanted to take the screen the whole way. And again, that's something you would have to ask Kevin. You would ask the Hacks, the offensive staff. Hey, was this just a design screen, or was this a play where you have options based on what leverage the defense is giving you? Because I don't think Joe ran this like a play. I think he just ran it like a screen. So he really didn't even wait. I don't know. That one's concerning. That one's very concerning. So this is actually a good play from Joe Flacco, right? He gets pressured, steps up, and then does throw a catchable ball here to Cedric Tillman. Oh, this is another really good play by Joe Flacco. Right, pressured, but he sidesteps and then gets just enough time to get this ball off, and he throws this with anticipation over the middle of the field. It's a huge play there. They get a penalty to knock him out of field goal range anyways, but huge play there. This play, I think what happens is that Jerry Jeudy falls. This is a man beater, right? So what they're trying to do, it's a whip route. Whip route is this. You come back inside and then you whip on out. This is to try to get a quick out of bounds play here and to put you at field goal range. It's a really nice play call. And unfortunately, everything cooperates except for the ground here. So Jerry Jeudy does a great job saucing him up, right? Put a little push off there, but he doesn't get called for it. But puts the sauce in him, 1 foot out, plants. I mean, that's going to be there. So Isaiah Bond is on the outside here, and I think he has a mandatory outside release, which means his job is just to run north. Like, he's not getting the ball here. His job is to run north. But instead, what he does is he starts gearing down and starts to try to track this ball like it's coming to him. And it might have been, but he starts to gear down here. Now, when he gears down, it does two things. His job is just to put his foot in the ground and sell this thing north, right? What you want to do is you obviously want to bring your corner with you downfield to clear him out, but you also want to drive this safety upfield this way. Because what you're trying to do here is a double move with Jerry Jeudy that you think you can win if you just give him the space, right? So they're not really trying to win a one-on-one outside here with the safety left over with Isaiah Bond. That's not what the play is for. The play is for Jerry Jeudy, right? They want to isolate this guy and this guy away from the play so Jerry can get the slant and go, right? The sluggo, the double move, whatever you want to call it. And this does work. Jerry sells it. He wins his route. The ball comes out on time. But you know what fucks this up? I don't think Bond sells the 9 well. He didn't sell the 9 well enough. So, again, Bond puts his foot in the ground, and then he starts looking back and slowing down for this thing around the 30. No, just run downfield. Because once you start looking back, look what it does to the safety and look what it does to that corner. So that corner's watching him. He's like, oh, he's looking up for the ball. That corner decides to track the ball, and he's like, that shit ain't going to him. I'm stopping here. And in the safety, because Isaiah Bond's geared down to the point to where he can just catch up with them, is no longer interested in that. He just looks up for the ball. It's right there. He's got to take that away, right? So he's got to sell that. He's got to hit top speed right here. He's got to be hauling ass, and he's got to pull that safety away from this. He didn't successfully pull anybody away from that play. I think if Bond sells this better, you got a chance to actually hit that. That's what happens in the league, man. I mean, that's a rookie play, right? When we talk about, oh, this offense is going to be better later in the year than it is right now, and you're wondering, well, what does Quincy mean by that? Why? Well, what are the young mistakes that are going to be cleaned up, as the year goes along? This is one of those things, right? Guy running a mandatory outside release. He's a decoy. But, maybe his college, he was always going to have an option to get this ball here. But that's not his role right now, right? This is a new role for him. Just drag the guy downfield. Don't look for the ball. Don't stop and try to catch the ball. Just keep fucking running, My bad. Just keep running. Because now you done brought 21 into the play. You've made it not really that much of a choice for the safety. You didn't put him in conflict. Because by the time Jerry hits that double move, you want to be up even further than it. I don't think he's even close to up the north enough that they want him to be, right? Like, yeah, this just isn't a convincing sell here. Like, he's not running this one hard enough. He didn't run this one hard enough at all. This ain't it. And then instead of clearing out for Jerry, you done clouded it. Yeah, that ain't it. Now, who cares? It's an interception at the end of the second half. But, yeah, that wasn't it. Yeah. Everybody's role is important on a play like that. And it's important that they play the role perfectly. All right, a little rollout action here. And you get an answer. I don't know why Joe doesn't take it. Again, there's an answer right here. I mean, there's two answers here. So this safety, again, these are high lows. You're looking for players in conflict. Joe has to see this conflict emerging. I imagine this is what they wanted, right? High, low. This safety's in conflict. Whoever he picks is wrong. So he puts his foot in the ground, starts going backwards. All right, get the ball to the 40. Let's get the first down. Let's move on with the game. Or, if you're Josh Allen, you can still throw that because he's late, right? Like, did you ever want to know what a franchise quarterback does? Right? You ever want to know levels to quarterback? Most quarterbacks, starting quarterbacks, they hit this guy in this situation, right? Franchise elite quarterbacks, they still go and hit this guy, right? We don't have either right now. So we hit nobody. That's what you have. That's what no quarterback gets you, right? And Joe Flacco at this point of his career is no quarterback. So yeah, again, starting level guy. He hits that 40. He reads the leverage like he's supposed to. He gets that ball out. Boom. We're moving on. franchise, game changer, MVP level quarterback, he still gets that on that deep over. Because you still got space, man. He throws that with anticipation. I'm not expecting that from Joe Flacco. So, I'm just bringing that up so we have some kind of perspective when we do finally get a franchise guy in the building at quarterback, hopefully sooner than later. We know what it looks like, right? We know the kind of decisions that are being made. But yeah, right here, you got to hit that guy. He doesn't hit him. He just looks at him, throws it late. I don't know what that's about. So as you're seeing, there's a smorgasbord of reasons why the Browns weren't successful offensively. I think there were opportunities there to be successful, but numbers of reasons why they weren't. I think the main one is quarterbacks not seeing the opportunities that are there. On what happened, but I'm not confident that theory is correct. All right, so they're doing play action bootleg levels concept here. And the ball ends up going to Luke Whippler. So people are like, oh, were we trying to get a fat guy touchdown? And I think we were trying to get a fat guy touchdown. It's just, it wasn't supposed to be Luke Whippler that was supposed to get the ball here. So again, it's a play action rollout levels, right? Like we've seen this before where the Browns run it a ton, especially like in 2020. So levels, right? High, back pylon, low, mid pylon. And you're supposed to have somebody either like sitting backside here just in case nobody covers, or like other times you'll have somebody kind of run a whip route here. Given that would be Aiden Huntington, I don't think that was going to be the case, right? Usually it's like a fullback running right here. And the ideal is you put the linebacker in conflict a little bit. But I think the plan was to get to this spot for Aiden Huntington. But Aiden Huntington ended up on the ground. Because there's only two receivers running routes, there should be three. Right? There should always be three. There's only two. So I think the man who was supposed to get the ball fell. Then Joe just said, fuck it. Let me just throw this in the dirt, or, see if the center can make a play on it. But let's follow Aiden here to see what happens to him. He gets pretty blown up. So Aiden starts to play at fullback, right? And I think his job is to sell blocking and then just kind of slip into this area while all this is going on, right? Because this linebacker is going to recognize this, and he's going to get to one of these two routes. So this is going to be pretty covered, and whoever's running this deep pylon is always going to be covered. But Aiden's the guy who has the opportunity to sneak free because he's going to go unaccounted for because they're going to sell out to kind of meet him at the hole, right? So I think this is supposed to go to Aiden Huntington. Aiden gets in there, blocks, but he doesn't release. In 93, teaches the rook a thing or two about football, right? And again, this is another example of the Browns offense is super young, and they got young guys in key roles, and they'll learn how to run this without falling to the ground, and they'll run it successfully later in the year. They'll be better later in the year than they are right now. But Aiden, he kind of gets swallowed up there. He ends up on the ground. He's trying to pop back up quick. But if you look at Joe Flacco, right, Joe's looking for him. And once he sees he's on the ground, that's when he starts, all right, I'm just going to get rid of it. Plays dead. That's my theory on what happened, All right, this is fourth quarter, 4 minutes, 34 seconds. I believe this is the second to last or the last play of the day. So he throws a check down. Again, the question for Joe is like, hey, why didn't we like this dig? Again, you're getting a nice little conflict here, right? So David's running this curl, and you're running a dig over it, and then you're putting this linebacker in conflict. So either the linebacker has to take this, stay there, or he attacks the curl, and whatever the linebacker does, makes your decision for you. He attacks the curl. Why are we now working back towards the check down instead of the middle of the field here? Again, the quarterback room has the answer for this. I don't know why we're not looking for this, because it's there, right? Once he takes David, and again, this is process oriented, right? I'm not just going to sit here, pop up a screenshot and say, why didn't he throw the ball there, right? We're going to work through the process of it, where it's like, hey, where is there a read that can tell you that that's going to open up based on this play? And the read was right there. And the linebacker takes Njoku. He sees it. Okay, you should know you have that dig. Let's give him a good ball here. Let's put this right on Jerry. And he could score, at the very least. Yeah, he could score. Now, we're going to be 3rd and maybe 5 to go. If he catches that there, who knows? Jerry can put his foot in the ground and make a move and score that. Ball's got to come out here. There's an answer. I don't know why we don't take it. I don't know why we're going straight to the check down. It's like, yeah, so that's the Joe Flacco breakdown of this week. And it was upsetting, to be honest with you. It was upsetting because Joe had answers. He wasn't taking those answers for whatever reason. And, last week I thought the calls for him to be benched were kind of unjustified. Like, I didn't think Joe was incompetent in that game. I didn't think that in week 2 there were answers on the field that he wasn't finding. I thought in week 2, the Ravens played lights out defense, and that happens sometimes, right? And unless you got like a Josh Allen to answer that kind of defensive effort, sometimes it's just going to be what it's going to be on offense that day or that week. But this week was a lot different. The Packers weren't lights out on defense, even though they're a good unit. It just seemed like Joe Flacco was either too eager to go to his checkdowns, not willing to kind of let a play out, not really going through what he needs to go through to get the ball out when it needs to get out. This is the kind of stuff where you're like, hey, there is a chance that they think Dylan's running it better in practice, and you go with Dylan. Now, I think they're going to be on the cautious side of that, and I don't think they play Dylan until they feel really good about their run game at the very least. But yeah, this was a performance that is of the caliber that if more of these stack up, you have to make the decision to bench him, because it becomes not the best thing for the team to win right now, right? All your future plans aside, that's the thing that's going to get them benched, is stacking up performances like this. You hope with the win that Joe can kind of just kick this performance under the rug and play more like we're hoping that he plays against the Detroit Lions, because I think similar opportunities are going to present themselves in that game. With the win, it's a lot easier to build confidence after a win in a bad performance than a loss in a bad performance. So we'll see if that's helpful for Joe Flacco. But yeah, it wasn't a good performance. And, if you see a couple of more like this throughout the season, you're going to have no choice but to bench him. It was bad. But that's my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.